when you're not tapping into that is costly.
Yeah.
It's almost killing a person to not have other things going on.
It is.
So you can offset that that loss.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.
Everything about you.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, StephenMotivate, back again with another joint session, Wealthy Thoughts. I'm here with my friend and yours. Talk to him, bro.
Steve James, what's up, world? How y'all feeling?
How are y'all feeling? Hopefully y'all getting something from this. If you are, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. But we want to hop right in it today, right? What is the financial benefit for being married? What is the financial benefit of being married? Because look, we talk about how the wealthy think, right? And to the wealthy, I believe that they don't just think about marrying for love. They think about marrying based on there is some type of financial benefit. Or negative, potentially. But what's the financial argument for being married? What's your thought on that?
The financial argument?
Yeah, what's the argument for? What's the reasoning behind getting married and like from a financial standpoint?
I mean, I think 2 incomes is better than 1.
Boom. Episode over.
You put yourself in a situation where, when both parties are working, there's tax benefits. You start adding kids, there's dependents.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's the tax breaks on your kids. When you're doing it the right way, when they're actually your kids and you're not claiming someone else's kids.
All the kids down the street.
Yeah, little JJ, he giving out $1,000. But
yeah, that's the basic. Like you gotta have, you get a benefit from being married financially.
For sure.
Like the government, based on the tax code, wants you to be married and wants you to have a little family.
For sure.
And if even if y'all not both working, the fact that one may be able to pursue their dreams and you get to build a family and get the tax benefits from building a family is a benefit.
For sure.
Financially, potentially.
For sure.
Right? 2 is better than 1.
2 is better than 1. And I think, with just the benefit when you're talking about kids, it's a benefit to have 2-parent household in the household. You know what I mean? Your kids being able to see that. And I think that it's changed too. I think I seen some article about like the 2-parent household is growing.
Yeah.
Which is always good. You know what I mean? So to see that, that means a lot of people are, want that type of cohesive family unit.
Yeah.
There
is something good about that. And I think many times when you're single, you're just thinking about, am I in love? Do I like this girl? Do we kick it? Do we have fun together? But when you actually, because marriage, people don't realize this, but marriage is a business agreement as well. It's a
100%.
legal document.
For sure.
Like you are now, for all legal practical purposes, one.
Yeah.
Anything you have is hers. Anything she has is yours.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So, like, I think, not only the income piece is good, but talk about like the credit piece. Like, if your credit's bad and hers is good.
Yeah. I mean, we're currently going through that right now. In my situation with the cars and everything, my credit is down from where it is. So her credit is better than mine. So we're riding off of her credit. And I think that's the most important thing is to make sure that once you're building for something, you're building for both parties.
Yep.
Because it's easy to say, hey, I'm the breadwinner. I'm the person that da-da-da-da. Let's build me up. But all it takes is for something to happen and then you crash down. If you haven't been working on your spouse, then, now y'all both SOL.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing is to make sure that when you're building, that you're building one another up at the same time. You're not working on one. Now, of course, when you're working on someone's credit now, it's like, okay, if we need to make you an authorized user on some cards, if we need to do this to build you up, then that's different. Because once you have somebody that has good credit already, you really can't build that no more.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're trying to build up whatever else you got going on in your household, whether that's your kids, whether that's your spouse.
And we're using that play right now,
for
the
sure.
Authorized user play. Like
for sure, 100%.
My
it works.
credit is it works amazingly. Like my credit may be at a let's call it a 700 sometimes. Well, if my wife if her credit's not there, I add her as an authorized user. All of a sudden, her credit pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that earlier this year. I've got several credit cards with the business and stuff, and my wife wasn't really, trying to be super disciplined and not have credit cards and not deal with debt. And that's cute and fine.
Yeah.
But when you're entrepreneurial and you need access to capital and all this sort of stuff, it's like, babe, go get you some credit cards. So now she got like 6 or 7 credit cards. She don't use them. But if we ever need to tap into some money, there you go. And it all came from, hey, she's an authorized user. So again, it's like one of the financial benefits of marriage. You get a built-in partner.
For sure.
On the business, even if it's not you doing everything and washing the cars together or doing every single activity together, at least you've got somebody that, like to your point, you can, if you do it right, one person can get a little risky while the other person is less risky.
Yeah.
Right? I can put a house in my name, don't put it in your name yet. And so this is a good question about this, and I got my opinion on it, but joint accounts or separate accounts?
Both.
Perfect answer.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think both, because number one, you don't want all of your stuff. I mean, I got multiple bank accounts.
Yeah,
it's just what it is. You know what I mean? As an entrepreneur, you need that. You need to be able to move stuff around, or I got to move stuff from here. So, I mean, I think both. I
agree, and I think the problem, a lot of even Bible teachers will like try to force this idea of everything has to be joint. Yeah. Has to be a joint account, and y'all got to combine everything. Y'all are one now. And that's a good idea in some cases, but if y'all both not good with money, or if y'all both ain't like, got the same risk tolerance, you shouldn't have everything combined into one account.
Yeah, I never, I kind of, we already had one of them episodes about the 50-50 thing and all of that. So I don't, I think that's one of those situations that what works with your household. Like you said, if someone's not good with money and they have a spending problem, you have all of your money in one account, that can get dicey.
Super dicey.
You know what I mean? So
so I do not agree with that 100%. And I think it worked maybe in the past for some families coming up. You got to think, I'm thinking of, if you ever seen the movie Fences, he like comes home, Denzel comes home and gives all of his check to his wife, which was played by Viola, right? And so he gives his whole check to her. She handles everything, gives him a little stipend back. And that was kind of the way it worked for them. She didn't work, but that was kind of their setup. But like in 2024, I don't think nobody needs to be getting all of the money. Now, if you're still that bad with money, you probably didn't need to get married. And hopefully somebody teaches you how to handle your money better. But certainly I think there should be one account for the man, one account for the woman, and a joint account for stuff y'all want to do, or at least joint access to, some spending. And so people don't have to like beg or ask. But I feel like, did you ever hear that growing up? I felt like I did. That everything's got to be joint accounts. And I'm like,
for sure. But I think back then it was different. You might have had only 2 sources of income.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you're dabbling in different, in certain banks, it's like you almost need more than one bank. You know what I mean? Because different banks have different benefits.
Especially if different banks have different benefits. And if you're like serial entrepreneur, like you definitely don't need everything in one bank.
It's too, you have to, that's why with that, that whole, I really don't engage in that too much, man. Cause it's like, you have to do what works for your family.
You got to do what works for your family.
And when you're an a serial entrepreneur, when you have different business, you have to have different bank accounts.
Yeah.
And your spouse may not be on that bank account.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Your business partner who you're doing that business with may be the person that's on that business account. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I think that, now of course when you're one, those are just conversations you have with your spouse.
No, absolutely. And y'all figure that out for yourself. Another benefit of being married is the healthcare piece, right? One reason we got married was because I have a job, and so I can now give my wife health care.
Yeah.
They wasn't giving, even though she was the mother of my children, she was not going to get health care based on my plan.
Right.
So even that's a strategy for some people. Like, okay, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to have a 9 to 5, and I've heard of several people doing this, like one of y'all take that. One of you might just keep your job simply for the healthcare piece.
Yeah, for sure.
For those
I know people who are actively doing that now, which there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you gotta. And it may not be a job that you want, but the benefits may be amazing.
Exactly.
So then you kind of weigh it out. Okay, is my benefits better or is your benefits better? If mine is better, let's ride under ours. You know what I mean? Under this one,
right?
And so like I said, it's case by case.
It's another case by case situation, but it again highlights the fact that marriage ain't just about love and happiness. It's also about some financial, practical life things that you need to look into.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to bring up, because obviously I lost my dad a few years back now, but when my dad passed, his Social Security spousal benefits was now eligible for my mom. So being married, and you start thinking about when we 70, when we 80, and you're thinking about health care and that sort of thing, like when you're married to somebody, there also will be a benefit for making sure you can carry on and handle your daily expenses if you get to that age where you can't work anymore.
Right.
And it's like, are we thinking about that?
Right.
Are we thinking about the fact that when we're older, if you're unmarried, it might be a little bit harder for you to figure your way through, or you don't get no help. But if you are married, some of those government programs, Social Security, other retirement things like 401ks and stuff like that. Like who's your beneficiary?
Right. Your Roth IRAs, all of that. Yeah.
Your wife, your kids. So I mean, I think it's dope, like to think through that sort of thing and be able to say, okay, marriage again is not just about the love. We want the love. Love is important. You need to keep that vibrant. But there are some true benefits to being married. And I wanted to bring this up because everyone, church and all that sometimes will pressure people into, oh, you need to get married. Oh, you don't need to be living in sin or living single. And some of that's true, but it may be less of a spiritual, like, I'm trying to do what grandmama telling me to do. And it may be more of a, no, this makes a lot of financial sense.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot people say that marriage is a business. And you don't really understand that until you get into it. Like, oh, dang. Because especially when you start filing jointly, like in our situation,
taxes,
we're filing, when it comes to our taxes, we're filing jointly. But as an entrepreneur and as Brianna working, like there's offsets that we have. So now as an entrepreneur, we have this income that we're showing, but being that this is an entity, there's different things that people don't really understand. And you don't understand it until you get married and start, when your CPA tells you, okay, well, what did you do here? And what's the depreciation on this? All of that stuff matters.
All of it matters.
All of it matters.
And it becomes a huge benefit. I mean, that is why, without a doubt, the cars have made sense for us.
No, 100%.
Because we've been able to depreciate the
100%.
expense of the cars against our gross income, lowering it, and thus getting a tax refund at the end of the year.
Man, I think off of this depreciation, I think she might have told me it was like 150, 160.
Yeah.
$1,000.
$150,000, yes.
But I was like, wait, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, you need to start tweaking a little bit some other stuff because you already, so it's like you just don't know that until you get into that situation. And then it's like, because man, the tax thing, that's one thing that it's like there's so many loopholes and different things that if you don't have a good tax accountant, CPA, it is crucial.
Yep.
Because they can literally save you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Thousands of dollars. But if you don't have a good one and you're just, trying to do it yourself, that's the worst. That's the worst advice you can give somebody. Hey, do your taxes yourself and you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I did it when I first started out, but if you're going places, which most of the people who listen to this podcast are going places. They're going places. What the data we think is telling us is that most people listen to our stuff are between 25 and 40 years old. Mm-hmm. So you still have a lot of time to get it right.
Right.
You got a lot of time to make the right decisions. And if you take some of this learning and take some of this stuff that we're telling you, like, it will benefit you. Get you an accountant that's going to make sure you operate through all of the loopholes and take on all of the benefits.
Yep.
And like you said, I mean, that was a great point. Like being married and filing jointly or filing separately.
Yeah.
But either way, there's a whole nother tax benefit you get from that. And people have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Most people are sitting at home. They're getting paid, let's say $100,000 a year. And they're at least paying 20 to 30% on that. Mm-hmm. So they're paying $20,000 to $30,000 a year just in taxes on their six-figure job. Mm-hmm. I say most people. I'm not saying most people that have six-figure jobs are paying $20,000 to $30,000 in taxes. But if you're married, to your point, and if you've got some other assets or something that you can depreciate, real estate, equipment, anything, if you got kids that's in daycare, all these things are tax deductions.
Yep.
So a lot of that $20,000, $30,000, after you get married, you can be like, man, I get that back.
Get it back. But the key thing that you said was other stuff.
Yeah.
When you just have one source of income and you're not tapping into depreciation, when you're not tapping into that is costly.
Yeah,
it's almost killing a person to not have other things going on.
It is.
So you can offset that that loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be able to offset that loss. Like I don't know how much we can preach that to people. Like, do not just rely on one source of income because they're going to tax you, especially when you're making good money. When you're making six figures plus, it don't even seem like you're making six figures.
Right.
Especially if you're in higher income areas.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And out of state.
Yep.
It's just.
And it seems sweet too for people when they not married.
Right.
Before you got a wife, before you got kids, and it's like, oh, I'm sweet. What do I care if I get another 10,000 back? But once you get married and you got these more responsibilities, you're going to realize, oh, I need to be taking more advantage of everything.
For sure. I need every dollar.
I need all the dollars, all the streams to come back.
Yeah,
because
100%.
these but it makes you a better person. It builds your character because you start to realize, oh, there's more out here, and don't just sit on the sidelines. And like you said, we got to preach it to people because many times your parents don't know. They just don't know to tell you this. And it ain't no harm on them. They just don't realize that you are now in a world where you can get to the bag, you can get to the streams, you can get the tax benefits, you can do what the wealthy do.
Yeah.
You can set up trusts. You can do all types of creative things that our people have never, black people especially, this ain't never been on our radar.
Nah, for sure.
We all about taking $1 and sticking it under a mattress and being happy that we got that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, come on, bruh, we got to get away from that.
No, for sure.
There's so many other money maneuvers you can play.
Yeah, we got to unlearn all of that is not healthy thinking.
It's not.
We have to unlearn the unhealthy thinking that we were taught. We have to unlearn. We have to condition our mind to know that things are different now. If you're not moving according to the different, then
you're getting left behind.
Yeah, man.
You're getting and your family's getting left behind.
For sure.
So and not
you're
even
doing a disservice to you and your family.
And your next generation. Right? Whether it's your nieces and nephews or cousins or whatever, you're doing a disservice to them because somebody has to be the one to carry the torch.
Yeah.
Somebody, just like somebody was the first to go to college and the first to get a job, a lot of those firsts were good.
Yeah.
But we're past those firsts now. It's time to get to some new levels.
For new levels.
And I think this idea that, you know, I'm just gonna be single all my whole life and I'm just gonna kick the bobos and I can't find nobody that I think is attractive enough, and like that's cool, but it's gonna be more like all that attraction and stuff is cool, and you should be attracted to your spouse, but I'm just saying it's more to life than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Once your lady have kids and running around, it's like people's bodies, my body ain't the same as it was 5 years ago. So we basing our lives off of these superficial things when you need to be understanding, can I do business with this person?
Right.
Can I have conversations about taxes, about credit, about housing, about insurance, about retirement? All the things we just brought up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you need to be looking for in a spouse, because it's not just a spouse. This is a financial, this is like your first big business deal. And I know it's weird to say it like that, but and from my perspective, marriage can be and should be, at least in one sense, looked at like a business deal.
For sure.
Am I going to have to argue with this person about every single thing? Or is this some person I can have reasonable, rational conversations with?
Yeah.
If my income goes up and hers is down, am I able to get her? If hers is up and mine is down, she got me?
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of person you want to be connected to.
Yep. Yep.
And so I just think we haven't talked enough about that spin on marriage.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't say I was thinking about all this when I, found my wife.
You're not.
But I'm happy now.
Because you have the knowledge now. You're in the know.
I'm in the know. So I'm trying to give it to the next generation. Like, before you get married, understand there's a financial component to getting married.
Yeah.
This is real deal, Holyfield.
Yeah,
like,
for
this
sure.
is
In another thing on that, we have to not tie ourselves up into when we're dating, we're getting engaged, because a lot of people are immediately going to, let's go find our dream home. They get their house together. Now you done tied your, and this is just a little gym.
It's a beautiful gym.
People can,
Please give it to them.
they can agree with it, disagree with it, but this is just, I think, is the best way to go. When you're dating, instead of y'all both go find one crib together, y'all both go get you either a single family home or a duplex. And the duplex is really the bigger play, because now you have 4 doors. You can stay in one of them and rent out.
Wait, not a duplex then. What's a duplex? A duplex is 2 doors.
Yes,
What's
but I'm
the
saying
4
you can
doors? Oh, y'all both
I'm saying y'all
duplexes.
both go get a duplex.
Got it.
Now, you got 4 doors.
And y'all can live in one of them.
Exactly.
Boom.
So now you don't tie yourself up, because when you get one house, now you're stuck with that. And it's hard to go get something else when, if you would have did it out the gate together
Separately.
you know what I mean? You do it separately, because everybody like, oh, let's go get the big wedding. Let's do this. It's like, man, if I had to do it all over again, this would have been the play.
Absolutely. And
You don't tie up one thing, and it just because like, oh, you're going to be able to get your dream house.
Right.
Get that income coming in so that can fund your dream house.
Exactly. It's a major move that you're talking about right there.
So
That's major. And that goes back to the point of don't tie up everything jointly, just trying to do what you think is the, Christian thing or the right thing or what mom and them used to do. No, that's a major play. Like,
for sure.
with my
Get
house,
some income coming in.
Yeah.
That's going to be none of this matters if you don't have no income, no streams coming in.
Exactly.
Get some streams coming in and make your life easier.
My cars, my house, my wife isn't on it.
Yep.
Because we're going to use that play of get another house, it's going to be in her name.
For
Get
sure.
other cars, it's going to be in her name. And that way we're both not tied up. So like you said, my credit is crazy right now because I'm leveraging my credit to do business.
Yep.
So, but why would I want to tie down her credit in that way? So I tie my stuff to
keep her open. So if something do go, if everything crumbles over here, bet we're going to build you up.
Exactly.
We're going to be able to fall back on you. And that's the whole point of marriage.
It is. And both of y'all need to be doing things, like we said, to build y'all credit and get this. We had the banker on the Journey podcast, and he was just talking about looking at different people's credit profiles. And if your credit profile, if you're not looking at that, managing that, life is going to be more expensive for you.
Sure.
And it's like, so separate that out for both of y'all. Get her credit right, get your credit right. Sometimes it may not be so right. So lean on one versus the other, and you're going to be happy you did.
100%.
These are the wealthy thoughts, people.
100%.
These are the wealthy thoughts. So that's it, y'all. There is a financial argument to be made for getting married.
Facts.
And yeah, we hope you learned. We hope you benefit from this as much as this has benefited us. As we're learning it, we're trying to give you the game so you don't have to go through all the things we went through. So any final thoughts, bro?
No, sir.
All right. Wealthy thoughts. We out. Peace. I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.